Now in today's video we are going to be making this cute little frog. He has bendable arms and legs, so you can put him in any position. You can use him as a mascot, pop a keyring on him, have him as a keyring, lots of ideas, or just as a little stocking filler. So he's rather cute. So with him I generally like cotton yarn. I use saffron drops, so I've got that in the green and the white. You can do any colour frog you like. I use the wire which goes through the arms, so it's one continual piece that goes through the body as well. Obviously I need my cutters. I use a 2.5mm hook, my scissors. I'm going to need my needle for sewing in the ends and sewing the arms on. Stitch marker because I work in the round, and safety eyes. You don't have to put safety eyes in them. You can do French knots or embroider them on, whatever you choose. So let's get started with this video. To start with, I'm going to be doing a magic circle. We're going to be starting with the arms and the legs, so we need them ready for when we do the body. So a magic circle, and we're going to do 6 single crochets into that magic circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and this is at point. I'm going to pop my stitch marker in. I like to always do it in the last stitch so I know my last one I'm coming up to. Okay, now for round 2, I'm going to pull that hole closed. Now the first one we need to do a single crochet into, which is this one right at the end here. So make sure you've gone through both loops on that one. And that is our single crochet. Now for the others, well, for the next 4 we need to work in the front loops, but what I want to do is I want to be able to identify them on the next round. They do wish into each other, so I'm going to go through that one. We know that's our first stitch that we need to use on the next round, and I'm going to go down through the back loops just to highlight them so I know which ones need picking up, because we're going to be working up the legs with those. And you'll see on the next round they do sort of hide from you. So I've got that one ready now. We're going to go back in and we're going to go in the front loop of the one that I've just marked, which is here. Get in there. There we go. I'm going to do a slip stitch. So pull it through and then just put it through the first one. That's your slip stitch. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to work back down the chain because we're making the toe. So we don't go in this first one, we go in the second one. We do another slip stitch. Just hold on to that bit. There we have it. And then we go down to the next one. We do another slip stitch. That is our first toe. Now we're going to line up our second one. So I want to be able to go down the back loop with my yarn. We're going to go in the front loop and we're going to do exactly the same as the first toe. So let's pop him in there. We're going to do a slip stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, work our way back down. So we're going in the second one, slip stitch on that one, and the third one, slip stitch in that one too. So that is our second toe complete. Okay, so we're going to go and drop our yarn back down the next one, which is this one here. It's our third one. And we're going to go and work in the front of the loop. This one here. I'm going to do a slip stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, in the second chain with another slip stitch, and the third chain. That's that one done. And then we've got, how many we've got? 3 toes. Now we need 4 for the arms. The frog has 4 on the arms and 5 on the back ones. So we're going to go back down this next back loop like so, so that we can work in the front loop. stitch, 1, 2, 3, back down, slip stitch, oops, I lost it off my hook, slip stitch, and slip stitch in the 3rd stitch. And it's at this point we're going to take the stitch marker out. This is our last one. We're going to do a single crochet in that one, which is here. And pop the stitch marker back in so that we know that's the last one. We won't need to mark that with our yarn because it's got the stitch marker there ready. Okay, so for row 3, we've got it all marked, as you can see. We know that that's our 1st stitch, which is both loops we did. So we're going to go through that one and do a single crochet. So I'm going to be pulling that piece of yarn out because I know where it is now. And it's at this point, you'll see why you needed the yarn. We've got to flip the work over because we're going to be working up the leg. And obviously you want to be able to identify which stitch is which. And if you try it without it, you'll see what I mean. Trying to find your back loops, they mingle into each other. So we know this is our next one here, as you can see there. So I'm going to pull that one out. Or if your hook fits through, then that's fine. Just put it through before you pull it out. So I know that's where I want to go on that one. So we're going to go in that back loop and we're going to do a single crochet. After this round, it's plain sailing. So that's our 2nd stitch done. And obviously this is our 3rd one. I'm pulling the wrong bit. Let's get that needle out and it'll make it a bit easier for me. There we go. That's exposed our next one, which is here. Single crochet in that one. Now stitch number 4 is under this one. And then we should just have number 5 marked with this last one here because we've got the stitch marker in number 6. So let's just make sure we keep our work tight. And then you've got to maneuver it to get to this last one because we're going from here to here. Because I've got such a small stitch marker in there, I'm going to leave it in just to show you. There's a lot of fiddly work on this one. It's a good job it's just for 1 round. So I need to go where that stitch marker is. So I'm going to put my hook in that way and hook it backwards just to get it up. Oh, I missed it, didn't it? Right. I'm happy that that's in there. So I'm going to take that hook out of the way, that stitch marker. Give me a bit more room. And there she goes. Stitch marker back in. That, believe it or not, is the worst round out of the whole frog. So you can have 4 of them to do. Okay, so for the next 12 rounds we're going to be doing a single crochet. So you've got 6 single crochets in the round and we're going to do it for 12 rounds. So we're going to pick up both loops and go all the way around. This is a lot easier now. You can see your stitches a lot more clearly. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and remember to take your stitch marker out for the last one. There we go, and here's my last one. 6. Pop the stitch marker back in. Now I'm going to give this first tail yarn a little bit of a tug just to close up that hole a little bit more. Let's hold his toes and give it a pull. That's it, you can feel it go. It's gone. So if you want to carry on, you need to make 2 of these for the arms, and I will meet you back once those 2 are complete. So you carry on until you get to the 12 rounds, and at the last stitch you're just going to slip stitch into the next one and leave a nice long tail just for sewing it on. Okay, so I have my 2 arms with my 4 fingers, I suppose, toes. Do frogs have fingers? Anyway, there's those 2 done. Left some yarn to be able to sew them on. Now we need to work on the feet. Okay, round 1, again we're going to be doing a single crochet. It's much the same as the arms, it's just you've got an extra toe to put on. So we're going to do our 6 single crochets into our magic circle. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and our stitch marker. Okay, let's put it tight. Now for the fingers, the hands, the arms, we did first stitch was a single crochet, but this time we need that extra finger gap, so we are going to be going straight into the front loop only. And I still want to be able to mark where my stitch is. Let's just pull that one out. I haven't threaded my needle, so we'll do it a different way. I'm going to go down that back loop. I'm just going to pull the yarn through with my hook. There we go. So that's marking our first back loop. I don't want that bit of yarn in there, do I? Let's get you out. So we're going to go into our front loop. And this one's quite tight. There we go. That's not a front loop, is it? There she is. Slip stitch all the way through, and then chain 3, 2, 3. Second chain, we're going to do a slip stitch, and the third chain, a slip stitch. Now I can see that's that stitch. We can always count back if you get lost. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We need this one here, is number 5. Let's just pull that black yarn through there. And we are going to go back in the front loop, slip stitch, chain 3, go in the second chain, another slip stitch, and a slip stitch in the third chain. And we need to find the back loop of our next one. like so. Go in the front loop with our slip stitch. Chain 3, 2, 3, back down, 1, 2, find the back loop of our next one, like so, pull the yarn through, go back in the front loop with a slip stitch, chain 3, work your way back down, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do the last one now. And there's one more stitch here, so we're going to go in the back loop of that one, find our yarn, go back and work in the front loop of that one, doesn't seem right. No, it's the next one along. It's going back in the old one. It's this one here. Slip stitch, chain 3, work back down, and then we're going to go into this last stitch. We're not going to mark this with a cotton because we know we're going to pop the stitch marker straight back in. And with the last one, we're going in both and do a single crochet. And that's round 2. Okay, for the next round, we're going to be picking up all these back loops. So as you can see, this one has got our first piece of cotton in. So we're going into that back loop. We're going to do a single crochet. And then find the next one. I might just pull that one out. So we've done that one. And as you can see, it leads us into this one. This is our second stitch. I'm going to get that one out. Let's pull you through. It leads into this third one that I'm pulling it through, so that's taking that one out for me at the same time. So remember where it is, and we're going in that one there. Now we need to find our fourth stitch. So as you can see, we've got 4 and 5 there. So I'm going to gently pull that one through, close enough to remember where it is. Number 4. And then our last one, it's got the yarn hanging out. Number 5. So number 6 is under our stitch marker. which is obviously on the reverse side over here. So I'm going to leave it in just until I find it. You can see it's there. And that's both loops on that one. Take the stitch marker out, give me a bit more space. And that is that round done. Now as we work up the legs, they're going to be slightly longer, so we're doing 15 rounds on this one. So rows 4 to 18 is a single crochet in each stitch. So now you can see where your stitches are. This is your first one. And then just work your way around. So we've got number 2. Oh, let's make it clearer for you to see. That's the first one, so it's here. And then number 3. So the further up you go, the lot easier it is. It's just these first couple of rounds that can be quite tricky. Squish it round. Number 4. Number 5. And we need to take the stitch marker out for number 6. Like so. So like I say, you need to do 15 rounds and then finish it off with a slip stitch and leave it a long yarn. And what I'm just going to do now on my 5-fingered foot is close that hole up slightly. So I'm going to wrap the tail end around my hook, give it a gentle tug. Don't tug too hard because you do not want to snap it. That's it. And it's disappeared. And then as you go, I just stuff that back down because you don't feel the legs or the arms. So if you want to carry on, I'll meet you once you've done your 18 rounds. Okay, here are my 2 legs finished, and it's actually row 18 we were finishing on, not 18 rounds. So as you can see, they are slightly longer and we have got the extra toe on them. So we need to put that aside and we're going to be starting on our body. Round 1, we have another magic circle with 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we pop our stitch marker back in. I'm going to go straight into round 2, and it is an increase round, so we're going to do 6 increases. Let's pull that bit down. So in every stitch we're going to do 2. We're going to end up with 12 single crochets at the end of this round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and our last 2 are below our stitch marker. $11 and 12. And 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet and then an increase in the next stitch, and we're going to copy that all the way around. So we've got 1 single crochet and then an increase in this next one. One single crochet and an increase, I think you get the idea. If you want to pause, and I will meet you at the beginning of the next round. Okay, before I do round 4, I'm just going to close this hole up, give it a gentle tug like so, and then we are going straight into row 4, round 4, and we're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase. So 1, 2, and then an increase in the next stitch. So if you want to carry on doing the same thing, 2 single crochets followed by an increase, I'll meet you at the beginning of row 5. Okay, now it's on this round, we're going to be incorporating a new colour. So in the green at the moment, we're going to be doing 5 single crochets and then an increase. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Didn't like that one, did it? There we go. 5. And then 2 in the next stitch, that's our increase. Like so. Now, when I change colour, I like to go back through these 2 here. It makes a neater finish, and then you can keep your stitches tight, otherwise they get really baggy as you're doing them. So we are going to change our colour like so, and we're going to pull that one up through there. So that is now our new loop, and at the same time we're going to incorporate this piece behind here. Okay, so we're going to be working in the back loops only for these next 5 single crochets. So we're going to go through this one here, and at the same time we're going to be incorporating these yarns. I don't like hanging them across the middle, because when you come to stuff it, it's near on impossible to get it through everything. So this is the one we're working with, this white one. I want to make sure the green and the other white, the tail end, is incorporated behind. Ignore that loop, we're going to pull that one out in a second. You won't even know it's been there. So this is our first single crochet, and then another back loop, it's number 2. So you can see what I'm doing, I'm hiding the yarn underneath, so I'm no sewing in because it's doing it for me. 3, 4, and 5. Now, so at this point I'm going to get rid of this loop. Had we not have done it the way we did, you'd have a really big baggy stitch there. So this one, you're just going to gently tug it and it disappears like so, keeping it nice and tight. Now for the next stitch, we are still working in the back loops only, but we need to do 3 together. So we go in the back loop. Again, I'm going behind these yarns, and you're going to pull up a loop. Then you're going to go in the next back loop, and you're going to pull up a loop, and the third one, pull up a loop. So that's 3 stitches together. Let me just keep that one behind. You're going to pull through all 4 loops that are on your hook, and that is your 3 together. As simple as that. And what we're doing at the moment, we're working in these back loops so that these front loops make the mouth. So we're going to do another 5 single crochets. So we're going to go in the next one, make sure that green one's tucked behind, and I want this one quite tight because it's got a long way to go over. So that's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. So as you can see, everything's concealed inside that green one. We're not going to have cotton going straight across because then it's hard to put the eyes in, the stitches become loose. I'm going to change back to green now. So we just drop that white one for a minute. Like I say, we're going to go back through that last stitch, finishing it off in the new colour. Makes it a lot neater, but you have to complete the stitch first with the old colour to make these stitches here tighter, otherwise they'll be bagging everywhere. So we're going to pull that one back through there, and that's our new loop. Now our first stitch is going to be an increase, so we're going to go back through both loops on this one and do 2 single crochets in that stitch. That's 1 and 2. And you can pull your white yarn out if you want, because it's secure now, like so. And we're going to finish off with our last 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, both loops, and incorporate the white behind, so it looks a lot neater. 2, 3. Take our stitch marker out. And 4. Pop our stitch marker back in. So that is round 5 completed. So you've achieved 3 stitches together. We've got the mouth in place, and it looks neat on the inside. Into row 6, we've got 5 single crochets we're going to be beginning with. Make sure you tuck your white one behind. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets, and now we're going to do an increase in this next stitch here. So it's 2 in that one. Then we're going to change our colour. So we're going to go through these front loops, pick up the white, pull it through. Then we're going to go on to do 4 single crochets now. So we've got 1 in here. 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to get rid of that green one so he doesn't get forgotten. I'm going to give him a pull. Now we're doing 3 single crochets together. So you're going to go into each stitch and pull up a loop. That's 1. The next stitch, that's 2. And the next stitch, that's 3. Yarn over, and we're going to pull through all 4 of those loops on our hook. I've got a bit of green on there. I just don't want that bit, do we? There we go, let's pull him out. Going straight into 4 single crochets. So we've got 1 here somewhere. It's hiding. There we go. Bit of my tail end poking through. I'll push that through in a second. So that's number 1. Number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Change colour again through these front ones. Oh, it just seems to be a bit tight to get in. Finally, change to green. At this point I'm doing my increase in the next one. 1, 2, which should leave us 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, to do single crochets. 1, 2. I'm going to pull this white before I forget it. 3, 4, 5, and we'll move our stitch marker for number 6. 7, 6 single crochets to begin with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we need our increase in this next stitch here. And we're going to change our colour. Pop the white on. Three single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to pull that green yarn through so I don't forget that one. Now we're doing 3 single crochets together, so we're going to go through the next 3 stitches, pulling up a loop on each. 1, 2, 3. Pull it back through all 4. Then we're going to go straight into this one here, and we're going to be doing another 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. We're going to colour change again. Back to our green. Straight into our increase. We're going to get rid of that white loop. And then we're going to finish on 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's take my stitch marker out for this last one. Number 7. Now for the next 2 rounds, that's row 8 and 9, we're going to do exactly the same as the last round. We're going to be doing 6 single crochets and then our increase. Then we're going to be doing 3 single crochets, 3 together, 3 single crochets, colour change again, increase, and 7. So if you want to carry on and do exactly the same, I will meet you back at the beginning of row 10. And before we start rows 10, we're going to be adding our eyes. Now I like to do it between rows 2 and 3. So this is our first row here, the magic circle we started with. This is our second one, and here's our third one. So anywhere on this line here. And you want to do it about 4 stitches apart. So I'm going to guide myself with a piece of thin yarn. So we're going to go in this row here. And I'm going to want one here. And do one there. Let's try that with the yarn and we'll see what it looks like first. Put it through both. No, I don't like the look of that. That's already looking lopsided. So I've either got to move this one to here or that one to there. I'm trying to think. I'm going to move it out a bit. So I'm going to want it in this one here. So I'm going to go with this one and this one. Now I'm using safety eyes, but you don't have to. You can use any colour yarn, make a French knot or embroider them in, your choice. I've made the hole slightly bigger with my hook and I'm going to push that one through. And I'm going to add the back to it. That is our first one. And then the second one, make it slightly bigger with our hook. See, this is why you don't want the cotton dragging behind and you want to tuck it behind as you're making your frog, because it's almost impossible to turn it inside out when you've got the yarn hanging through. Add our back to that one. That looks better. I'll just get rid of our yarn. Should have pulled it out really before I push them in. I'm going to end up with bits everywhere. There we go, all out. So there's our eyes, and I'm going to be stuffing the head at this point. And then just keep adding stuff in as you go up. Like so. Now for row 10, we're going to be starting with 7 single crochets. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're going to change the colour. We're not doing an increase in this round. Okay, there we go. I'm going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. We're going to go straight into our 3 together. 1, 2, 3. Put it through all 4. 3 single crochets on the other side. 1, 2, 3, change our colour. We're going to finish off with 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, might want to tug. 6, 7, and our last one under the stitch marker is number 8. So that's row 10 done. Now for the next 6 rounds, so that's rounds 11 to 16, we're going to do exactly the same. There's no increases, there's no 3 single crochets together. We're going to be starting off with 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to change the colour to white. Let's see if I can get it done first time this time. Yay. We're going to do 10 single crochets in the white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is our number 10, and then we're going to change the colour back to green. We're going to finish off the last 6 single crochets in green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's take our stitch marker out for the last one. 6. So if you want to carry on, you've got another 5 rounds to do. I will meet you at the beginning of row 17. So you're going to repeat that last row for the next 5 rounds. Right, so at this point we need to add the wire for the arms. So let's move these legs out of the way. We'll come back to them later. So we need a piece of wire that's going to go through the arm, through the body, and through the next one. Doesn't have to be exact. Just snip that off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed it through this arm first. So what I want to do to make it safe, I want to bend the end over, just in case it tries to poke itself out. Just like that. We're going to go down this first arm, like so. So it can't come out because it's nice and bent at the end. And we're going to be sticking this through the body. Now I do it between rows 10 and 11. So again, we're going to get my needle just to point it out to you. We know this is row 1 because that's our magic circle. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's going to go this sort of row. And then if you fold him flat, we can then work out roughly where you want him. So I want it here and straight out the other side. So I'm going to follow this row round, so I know it needs to come out about here. And again, it doesn't have to be exact, it's just to your eye. So that's where my arms are going to go. So I'm going to feed this piece of wire back through there. Lost it already. I'm gonna go through here. Let's just double check. Could be wrong. Nope, that's right. And out of this side. Where's he gone? Oh, this one here. Up one. There we have it. I'm going to do one arm at a time. So with this thread, I'm going to be making sure it's in position, and I'm going to sew through the body. So what I generally do is I go down the next stitch, and I'm going to pick up roughly where this wire is coming in and out. So that stitch above it. Pull it tight. I'm going to go up the next stitch and down the next one, and again pick up a stitch near the body and pull it tight. Up the next stitch, down the next one, and pick up a stitch near the body. Just keep working yourself up one, down the next one, and I'm going to go through that one. I'm just going to do a couple more, because obviously if a child's going to be playing with this, they're going to be bending the arms all the way, so we want to make sure it's secure to the body. That's our first one. So I'm going to want to bend the arm on the other one as well. If you haven't got wire, you could use pipe cleaners. If you have pipe cleaners in your craft box, they will work just as well. Pop that one on. Let's just snip that bit off. That's our tail end. It's disappeared now. Make sure your hands are going the same way. And do the same for this one. I'm going to go down the next one. And then find it nearer the body. And pull up a stitch through there. So I'll let you carry on. I'll meet you when I finish this round. Okay, I'm just about done sewing that second arm in. What I'm doing with my ends is I'm pulling them back through the body here. And I'm just going to tie those two arm ends together just to make sure that they're not going to come off with a bit of tugging. So we can leave the ends in there, there's no need to cut them off, and then we're going to add a bit more stuffing. And obviously now you're going to need to feed it past that wire. And then we can carry on working. So we have his arms that are all bendable. Let's finish the body. Now we're just going to start row 17. So we've got nice bendy arms. We're going to start with 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I'm going to change colour now. Put the white one on, and we're going to start off with a decrease. Like so, and straight into 6 single crochets. Now remember to keep your green one behind. 1, 2, 3, give it a tug, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go straight into another decrease. Make sure your stuffing doesn't get caught in it. Front 2 loops of the next stitches, like so. Pull the yarn through, and then pull the yarn through both. Change colour again. Back to green. And we're going to finish off with 6 single crochets. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep the white one behind. 1, 2, 3. Let's get rid of that white loop. 4, 5, and the last one is number 6. And replace your stitch marker. Into row 18, we're going to start with 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease, so it's the first loop of the next 2 stitches, front loop, and 1 more single crochet in the green before we change colour. Get in there. I think my fingers are getting tired. There we go. Let's change over to white. And our first stitch is going to be another decrease. Like so, and then we've got 1 single crochet. Make sure you get your green behind. I'm going to pull that green one tight now to get rid of that loop. Now we're back to the 3 single crochets together. So we're going to pick up a loop on the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Pull it through all 4 on your hook. And then we've got 2 single crochets to do in the white before we change colour. 1, 2, 3, the green one back on. Now we got a decrease and then 4 single crochets to get through. So this is our first one here for the decrease, first loop. I only want the front loop. 1, 2, and then we've got 4 left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure the white is behind. I'm going to get rid of that bulgy loop now. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Row 19, we're going to be starting with 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, straight into a decrease. So the front loops of the next 2 stitches. And it's at this point we're changing colour. Let me in. Over to the white. I do 1 single crochet in this next one. Make sure we hide the green behind. Pull that tight. We're going in for another decrease. Now we've got 2 single crochets to do. Keep your green behind. 1, 2, change colour again back to green. Get my fingers and thumbs at the moment. Right, green. There we got 1 single crochet in the next one. And then a decrease, which should leave you with 2 single crochets left to do. Give that white one a tug. One, and remove the stitch marker for our last one. That's row 19 done. You might want to add a bit more stuffing at this point. Should be enough. Into row 20, it's just going to be a decrease round because we've got 12 stitches on our work at the moment and we want to go down to 6. So I'm going to start with 2 decreases before I change my colour. 1, 2, 2, grab the white, straight into 2 more decreases on the white, squeeze it to find the front rows. That's one, pull that green one through. Change colour back to green. Pick up the next front 2 stitches. We've got 2 decreases to do now, and then we're finished. We can sew the end in. That's our first decrease. Going to need to move the stitch marker for this next one. Pull that white tight. There we go. So we're just going to pull some yarn just to sew the ends in and cut those off. Now I'm not worried about this white one. I need to concentrate on sewing in the green one. So to finish it off, we need to pick up the front loops of all the 6 stitches that we have. So we have got one here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to give it a bit of a tug, not too tight because you don't want to snap it off. And then I'm going to feed these back up through the body, and it should pull that back in. So as I've got the green, I'm coming back up through the green. And then if you give it a tug, it pulls it in. And then we'll thread this white one. We do the same with that. Anywhere through there. I'll bring it up through the white bit. And then we can snip those off. So this is what we have so far, and then we can get ready to put the legs in. Right, like we did for the arms, we're going to do the same for the legs. So I want to go into rows, say 16 and 17. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I want to go through here. And the same on the other side, so I'm going to follow it around. Which looks about right. I need to measure my wire. So we're going from that foot through the body to about there. Bend my end over. Through one of the legs. I'm going to follow where this needle is, so I'm going in this one. I'll try and poke it through. So I need to remember I'm coming in this one here. There we have it. Move these arms out of the way for a minute and get in my way. Now I'm going to start by sewing this one in place and then adding the other leg onto that side. If you find that the wire is too long, just take it back out and snip a little bit off. It's better to be too short than too long. You don't want it sticking through. And again with this one, around the wrong way. Make sure the leg is in the position that you want it with the feet. I'm going to go down the body first. So I'm going down this next, sorry, down the leg. So I'm going to go down that next stitch just to neaten it up. Then we're coming through the body. And I'm going to go in these two here. Pull it tight. I'm going to go through one stitch, back down the next one. Give it a tug, and again find the next one in near the wire, pull it through, up one, down the next one. It hides it in that row of stitches, then close to the wire, up one and down the next one. Again, close to the wire on the body, up one, down the next one. Just keep working your way around. If you're happy that it's on there tight, then stop. You might want to just do a couple more stitches going round. It's better to be more secure than not. So I'm happy with that leg, it's not going anywhere. I'm just going to hide this yarn up through the body. And now it's time to do the next leg. So exactly as you did before, I'm just going to double check that I'm happy with how much is on there. I think I need a bit more wire in there. That's it, I can feel it now. Pop it down. The wire stops about here. So I'm just going to curl my end and sew the other one on. So I'm going to carry on and sew it and I'll come back to you. Okay, so that's our frog finished. Nice bendy arms and legs. And like I said, you can make him into anything you like, just a toy, a keyring, mascot. So if you like the video and you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and give me a like, and I will see you on the next one.